Am I? Is my audio is clear or not? Thank you so much. Hello everyone. Good evening. Myself Yusra Khan, convener of Lawlicious. Lawlicious is an organizing committee founded by Mr. Vivek Dixit, which provides knowledge about internships, debates, and moot court competitions. It focused on promoting legal awareness through webinars and competition for scholars, which is beneficial for all law students. Lawlicious has hosted over 40 plus webinars, debate competitions, and many moot court competitions. Now, I would like to introduce to our core team. Founder Mr. Vivek Dixit, I, Convener Yusra Khan, Head Organizing Committee Divyanshu Mishra, Event Manager Ashu Mishra. Let me tell you about speech competition. Nyayvani, Voice for Justice. To commemorate 52 years young minds to reflect on constitutional values within a focus on the protection of marginalized communities and the enduring significance of the basic structure doctrine, a speech competition that encourages students to raise their voice on justice, equality, and constitutional rights with a focus on protecting marginalized communities. Topic as same as earlier, uniform civil code and the basic structure, a conflict between equality and religious freedom. Here are some guidelines. Time limit, each participant will be given 6 minutes to speak on the topic. Post speech judges will ask questions for at least 4 minutes to assess understanding and communication skills. Second, dress code and conduct. Wearing formal attire is mandatory, which is black and white dress or advocate style clothing. Participants must keep their cameras on throughout the session from till end. Failure to comply with the dress code or cameras rules will lead to disqualification. Third one is content and delivery. Content must be original, relevant, and well organized. A formal tone and adherence to time limits is expected. Judge criterias are relevance and depth to content, confidence and clarity, body language and presentation, responsive during question answers when judge will questions. Here are some grounds of disqualification too. Exceeding time without valid reason, cameras off or improper dress code, or disrespectful behavior. Here are some additional instructions that use of phones, scripts, or external help during the speech is strictly prohibited. Now, let me introduce to our judge for our final round. Our first judge is Nitesh Tiwari sir. Sir, he's from City Law College, Lucknow, and sir is a constitutional law expert. Our second judge is Ishant Tripathi sir. Sir is a faculty of law with ICS Lucknow and a constitutional law expert. Our third judge is Preeti Bhargav ma'am. She's a professor of Vedant Law College and a constitutional law expert. Now, I would like to introduce our first participant, Sonali Gupta.
Hello, Namaste, Adab, Sat Shri Akal to all the respected judges, authorities, and my worthy opponents. It's an honor to present myself in this final round of this competition. equality and religious freedom. I, Sonali Gupta, fourth year law student of Deshmukh University, Mandi Govindgarh, am truly grateful to opportunity to speak on this topic. So let's dive in without wasting any time. The debate over the UCC in India sits at the crossroads of two fundamental constitutional values, equality and religious freedom. Article 44 of the Indian Constitution, part of the DPSP Directive Principles of State Policy, calls upon the state to secure UCC for all citizens. At the same time, Articles 25 to 28 guarantee freedom of religion. The crux of the issue is whether implementing a UCC violates the basic structure of the Constitution by infringing upon religious freedoms or whether it strengthens the structure by promoting equality and secularism. The basic structure doctrine established by the Kesavananda Bharti case in State of Kerala in 1973 holds that certain features of the constitution such as secularism, democracy, rule of law and fundamental rights cannot be altered even by constitutional amendment. Any legislation or policy must pass this doctrinal threshold. So, why this UCC is important? UCC proposes a set of common personal laws applicable to all the citizens, regardless of religion, covering areas like marriage, divorce, inheritance, and adoption. The UCC is grounded in the principle of formal equality, aiming to remove disparities and discriminatory practices in personal laws. India's personal laws are deeply embedded in religion. Hindu law governs Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, and Sikhs. Muslim law, largely codified in governed by Shariat. Christian and Parsi laws have their own codes. Article 25, Clause 1 guarantees the right to freely profess, practice, and propagate religion, but this right is subject to public order, morality, and health. Article 25, Clause 2, Clause A permits the state to regulate or restrict secular activities associated with religious practice. The judiciary has often distinguished between essential religious practices and secular aspects. In Shirur Muttu 1954 case, the Supreme Court laid the foundation of this test. How the equality under the law and religion are conflicting. Many laws discriminates against women. For example, triple talaq, unequal inheritance under the Muslim law, polygamy in some religious laws. These raise a constitutional question. Can religious freedom justify discrimination? The court in Indian Young Lawyers Association versus the State of Kerala 2018, the Sabrimala case, underscored that equality and dignity of women are non-negotiable parts of constitution. What are the thoughts of judiciary?
Sonali, I think your internet connection is not good.
If implemented respecting religious diversity and not imposing majoritarian values, can align with secularism. Equality before religion means that no religion should stand above the constitution, and all citizens must be treated equally regardless of their religion identity. Not just in public, but within religious practices themselves, especially when those practices affect the right. Because in the Indian context, religion governs many personal matters marriage, divorce, inheritance, adoption. If religious practices or personal laws result in discrimination, particularly against women, LGBTQ plus persons, or minorities within religious, then the principle of equality before religion demands the constitutional equality prevails over religious customs. It is supported under the constitutional law such as Article 14, equality before the law, Article 15, prohibition of discrimination, and Article 25, Clause 2 states power to regulate secular aspects of religious practices. Religion should not be tool to justify hierarchy, oppression, or exclusion. True secularism does not tolerate religious diversity. It also demands that no citizen is made unequal in the name of religion. I'll conclude by saying the UCC, if crafted with sensitivity and consultation, need not conflict with religious freedom, but after harmonize the core constitutional values of equality, dignity, and secularism, the basic structure doctrine does not protect religious personal laws as per the Constitution Code. I guess. Thank you and have
Judges, do you have any questions?
Yeah, Sonali, are you audible?
yes, sir.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
You are just now referring the point regarding Article 25. So my question is, Article 25 already contains certain limitations. Article itself mentions that subject to public order, health, morality, and other provisions of that particular part, that is part 3. So Article 25 is in itself putting a restraint on the right to religious freedom. So why there is a need for UCC? Because Article 25 also puts certain restrictions while regarding the exercise of the right to religion. You have to take into account the public order, health, and morality, and also the other rights provided in the part 3. So why is it that UCC should be put forth?
So, under the Article 25, Clause 2, Clause A, it is mentioned that these practices will prevail if the religious customs, the religious activities are not against the law. It is mentioned in the Article 25, Clause 2, Clause A. Only those religious practices and
What
customs
has
will be
been
followed
mentioned? Please repeat the lines. Please repeat the
in
lines.
under the Article 25, Clause 2, Clause A. It is
Huh?
mentioned that only those religious practices or religious activities are allowed according to the law, which are not
Not
against.
religious activities, those economic, financial, and secular activities related to religion. It is mentioned in 25 clause 2a, which you are referring. It's mentioned that state can make laws regarding the regulation of economic provisions related to economic or financial or secular activities. So it is not giving the power to state to interfere with your religious freedom. It only gives the power to manage the activities which are secular in nature. What I am asking, that Article 25 in the initial line itself, it says that subject to public order, health, morality, and other provisions of this part. So Article 25 in itself is putting a restraint on the right to religious freedom. So why there is a need for UCC? It is 25 itself is saying that this right is not absolute in nature. Irrespective of your personal laws, you have to take into account the public order, health, morality, and other fundamental rights as well. So why is there is a need for UCC? Can't there be a diversity in India? 25 in a way is celebrating the diversity and also putting a restraint on your religious rights, the reasonable restrictions.
Yes, sir. The UCC is for the civil rights on the grounds of divorce, maintenance, adoption, and inheritance. On these grounds, because many religions in India are not following the same criteria for the civil rights.
Hmm.
Because of their customs, because of the customary laws, they are not following the same criteria for the civil rights. For the civil rights, for the equal rights to given for to the all communities, all the people, all the religions, all the sex, caste, race, everyone without any discrimination. That's why this UCC is important for the information, and it is mentioned in Article 44 DPSP that it is already mentioned in that article to come in India in the title of this country. It would take time, but it will definitely come. So it is already mentioned there as
But
in the.
DPSP is not enforceable, no? Why didn't the constitutional makers thought about making the UCC in fundamental rights? Why did they put in DPSP?
Because it still has some work to do, because today only two states having this, as according to I just got to know about the Goa's UCC, that it was implemented years ago when Portuguese real rule was there. So obviously Goa is following that Portuguese real UCC, and now in this year Uttarakhand has implemented that. So, but not all the states
Are
are
you in,
going
are
according
you in
to.
support of the Uniform Civil Code which is there in Goa?
Uh, yes, sir. But it's not accordingly exactly the same, which our government are saying about that this will be this will be that. But that actually that UCC is the old one, not the today's date one. So it has some works to do. But as it is already there, there will be amendments for the same in that state,
Should
I
states
guess.
be allowed to separately make laws regarding the UCC? Because Article 44 says that UCC should be there throughout the territory of India. So the spirit of Article 44 is that the UCC should be implemented throughout the country, not in a particular state.
Yes, sir. But as it is not completely developed country, it is developing. India is developing, so it's like a experiment. Every state will just implement the same and check whether it's providing profit for the people or not. And if there is some problem with that, the government will do accordingly that, and then it will be implement according to the all the country. I guess this criteria should be there.
Okay, beta. Sir, please put on your mic. You are not audible. Ishan sir.
Sonali, I have one question to ask.
Yes, sir.
Do you think, Sonali, that is India a secular nation?
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay, it is. So, what kind of the model of secularism India follows?
The secularism, actually,
How
I
can you
can't.
say what do you mean by secularism? Because I think you're in the favor of UCC, right?
Yes, sir. So
Perfect.
secularism is where uh, every religion, every
Okay.
caste, race, every gender is equal. No one
Okay.
has the rule over other. No one has that.
This you are talking about the equality
Equality.
concept,
Yeah.
not about the secularism concept. I just asked one simple question, that
All the
what is the
religions.
model of India's secularism, right?
India is secular country where no religion is at the top. Like Hindu, Muslim, all are equal. We are Indians, not I'm Hindu. I'm not Hindu. I'm not Muslim. I'm not Sikh. Yeah, I'm Indian. That's what secularism is. That all religions are treated equally.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, can you tell me that is secularism a part of basic structure of the constitution?
Sorry, sir. Can you please repeat?
Is secularism a part of the basic structure?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It is mentioned in the preamble.
It is not mentioned that it is a part of basic structure, beta. Can you
Hmm.
mention, can you cite the relevant case in which the Supreme Court said that secularism is the basic structure of Indian Constitution?
Uh, right now, I'm not able to state any Supreme Court case,
Okay.
but as of this, I know that if we are in a country like where many religions are there, many castes are there, so obviously it is secular because we have to take all the people
See,
according to.
Sonali, the thing which you are repeating again and again, it is more focusing or emphasizing on equality, right? If someone
Yes,
asks you that what is the model of India's secularism, just simply say that India has a positive model of secularism, which says principled distance from religion, and the state has no official religion. That's it. There's
okay, sir.
nothing to say more, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for
So you were
clarification.
more emphasizing on the equality part, not on my question.
Please go through
Okay.
the Aruna Roy versus Union of India case.
Yes. And Aruna Roy also, and sir, in the Ram Janmabhoomi judgment also,
Yeah,
the Supreme
yeah.
Court mentioned that the India is a secular nation, so it has done.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Okay, apology for the disturbance, but our chief guests are here. So let me introduce to our chief guest, Mr. Narendra Bahadur Tiwari, sir. Sir is a practicing advocate at the Supreme Court of India and Delhi High Court, as well as various district court and tribunals. He is esteemed founder of Narendra and Narendra Associates, a prominent law firm, and Narendra Judiciary Academy, an institution dedicated to excellence in legal education and training. He is the president of Narendra Educational Registered since in 2005. He is also the advisor in Delhi of International Human Rights Association. Now, I would like to introduce to our special guest, Kesari Nandan sir. He's a assistant prosecution officer, district and session court at Sitapur. Now I would like to introduce to our guest of honor, Dr. Kavya Chandel ma'am. Ma'am is currently working as an assistant professor in Integral University. Ma'am judged various competitions and presented research papers at various national conferences. Ma'am is a silver medalist in IPA from Ram Manohar Lohia National Law University.
Pardon, with a little slight change in the introduction. So, I'm currently working as an assistant professor in Sharda University.
Okay, apology, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Uh, Now we carry on. Now I would like to introduce our second participant, Sankalp Tiwari. Okay. Now I would like to introduce to our another guest of honor, Priyanshi Gupta ma'am. Ma'am is specialized in energy and environmental law. Ma'am is a practicing advocate at Supreme Court of India, Delhi High Court, and District Court tribunals with over 2 years of dedicated legal practice.
Highly obliged, ma'am. Thank you. Continue.
Welcome to all the chief guests, our guest of honor, and our special guest. Most welcome to our speech competition. Now we carry on and move towards our another participant, Sankalp Tiwari.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Can I start now? Okay.
Yes.
So, good evening to the honorable judges, the organizers, and the learned participants. My name is Sankalp Tiwari, and I would be speaking against the topic. So, before starting my speech, I would like to start with a few lines that unity in diversity is not just a slogan in India. It is an essential, it's the very fabric of our existence in India. And these lines were said by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru post the independence of our country. And this statement embodies the very spirit of what has carried us through decades of pluralism. But today, as we gather here and we talk about UCC, we must think and put some thought into, is UCC actually honoring the spirit of diversity in India, or is it actually contributing in undermining the principles of diversity in our nation? Now, the concept of UCC is not a new one. It has been debated previously post our independence, wherein Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who was actually an advocate for the UCC, even though he was an advocate, he had acknowledged and said that in the future, the governments can actually choose to implement UCC, but only with the consent of the people and not impose it without the same. And this is the reason why Article 44, which pertains to UCC, was kept under the DPSP rather than being a fundamental right. Why? Because UCC was meant to be grown naturally rather than put by force. And moreover, the purpose of UCC was to, in one sense, that people shall not be forced to erase their identity and their customary practices. Now, let me take you to the case of Uttarakhand, where the UCC was passed in 2024. What actually happened there? We could see that the UCC that was passed there drew protests from various tribal communities who, by the way, got this information of the passage of the bill only after it was finally passed. There was no inclusion of their opinions. They were not consulted, and there was no actual a general consensus with which the code was passed. And let me ask you this: is this what we call justice? Can we call this justice? Because Mahatma Gandhi ji had once said that the worth of a civilization can be judged by the place it gives to its minorities, and it's a sad reality that, according to me, that place is not given to the minorities and the marginalized communities in our country. Now, we should also remember that equality cannot be achieved through such an exclusion. And of course, the supporters of UCC can say that UCC can bring about fairness, it can bring about justice, it can bring about gender neutrality. But when we come to the actual reality in a place like India, what happens is uniformity translates into majoritarianism. What the definition of uniformity, more in most cases gets defined by what the majority wants. And so what I think we essentially need are reforms. We need reforms within the existing framework to begin with. At least we have problems ranging from marital rape. We still have problems of untouchability and dowry. These are the things, and female oppression. These are the things that are still very much prevalent in our country. And before going to UCC, we must look into all of these things. We should look what the courts have to say about the UCC. In the Sarla Mudgal versus Union of India case, the court had said that UCC can bring about national integration, but it had acknowledged the difficulty in its enforceability. Why? Because of the India's nature and the huge amount of diversity and cultures that exist within it. Also, in the Shaira Bano, the triple talaq case, what the court did was phenomenal. What the court essentially there did was it struck out an oppressive provision, which was the triple talaq, while actually preserving the broader religious framework. So what the court did was balance the individual's dignity with the belief in the religion, and this is how it brought about a reform rather than a complete replacement. Also, in the in a very recent case of Vikas Sharma, if I'm not wrong, in 2020, the court had ruled in favor of daughters getting the equal co-parcenary rights. So these are the things that should be. These are the things from which we should take an inspiration and start to bring about reforms within our existing structure of our personal laws. Now, even today, if we look at someone mentioned Goa. So in Goa, if you look at the reality of what is happening, uniformity is a very far-fetched thing. Even there, on one hand, Hindus are allowed to practice polygamy, but the Muslims cannot. So these are the little bit of things that still are lacking, even in that ideal model of UCC state called Goa. And so, if I want to pose this question yet again, do you think that can we achieve equality while, or can we achieve equality by erasing diversity? Is it in any way justified that that a bill is being passed without the consent of the governed, of the people who will get affected? I don't think so. And we should also keep in mind that there are tribals in Nagaland and Mizoram protected under 371A and 371G. What about them? If the UCC does not take into consideration all of these minorities and these tribal communities whose practices have been prevailing and coming since centuries, then I don't think that it will bring about any uniformity. What this will result is a forced uniformity, which can affect our unity and only result in silent resentment, which is very fatal for a sacred nation as ours. Thank you so much for your time.
Judges, do you have any questions?
Yes.
Sankalp, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Go on, go on.
Sir. So, Sankalp, tell me what was Law Commission Report 2018?
Ma'am, the Law Commission 2018, I only have a fair bit of idea, but I remember it said that in its current, there's no requirement of UCC as of now. It said that it is not necessary, and something along the lines of it is not necessary for UCC to come at this. There's no need for it in the current state of affairs in India.
Okay. Why it is not necessary? Tell me three reasons. Hey, three grounds.
Of why UCC is not necessary.
Yes.
Firstly, ma'am,
The conflict between
because I think
Article 25 and UCC. Tell me three reasons. Yeah.
okay, ma'am, I think there are still so much diversity and culture that is existing within the minority sections of our society, which is the tribal class, most of it. And UCC was essentially meant to uplift these marginalized communities. And what we are missing is that these communities and the tribal leaders and people like that, they are not being consulted,
Do you
or they're
think
not being
do you think codification of personal law is also a challenge?
yes, for in for as we stand
Define
now, yes.
define
Yes, ma'am.
with constitutional validity. Defining with constitutional validity.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, as our constitution has quite clearly abolished untouchability, that is one thing that we still face today. The dowry practices that are prohibited, even under Article 25 and 21, these types of practices are still practiced. It is still very much prevalent in the rural sections and in most parts of our country even now. These are some problems that have been prevalent since years now. And regardless of whatever steps have the government and the authorities have taken, the proper implementation has been missing. And when we are not able to correct these problems in so many years, I don't think this country is, I think, a little too young for a code like UCC.
Okay, so you may proceed.
Sankalp, you are mentioning about the diversity of India. My question is that in the name of diversity, should a particular gender be put into a second grade class just because in the name of diversity? Can you put a gender, that is, I'm referring to the women, should polygamy be allowed in the name of diversity?
I don't think so, sir. Unless, sir, it actually has a lot of nuance. It is not a yes or no question. That's what I think. But I think it depends on the what do I call it? The customary practices that have been prevalent in that particular sect or that particular community. Because there are actually many tribes that practice polygamy and many other things. And if we come to Hindus or any other such religions, they look down upon it. So I think it really depends on the centuries or the history of that particular community or that particular religion. But if we come to if we ask in general, it is very much against morality, and I think this is what the courts have held many a times. And yes, but for the communities that have been practicing this and it is recognized and provable, then I think they should be given that right. If that's what it takes to
Look,
you
you mean
know
to say that in today's day and age, the communities should be given the right to have four wives?
I think, sir,
Have
we
you
should
read
give
the
them.
Keshwanand Bharti case?
Yes, sir. I
A
have an idea.
dedicated paragraph was dealt with in this Keshwanand Bharti case, in which UCC was discussed elaborately, and the judges unanimously held that UCC is the need of the hour, and it is very much important for the integrity of the nation.
Yes,
And
sir.
you are also mentioning Dr. Ambedkar. Dr. Ambedkar was quite clear in his mind that UCC should be enforceable.
Yes, sir.
He said that if we can have a uniform criminal code, why can't we have a uniform civil code?
Yes, sir. Absolutely correct.
So, are you advocating your point against Dr. Ambedkar views, or in
Sir, I am.
Salamullah, or recently in Sharabanu case also, Shahbanu case also, there are series of cases in which Supreme Court has advocate, and even Supreme Court has criticized the government and said that UCC is just now just like a dead letter now, because government is not taking this into consideration because of vote politics. So don't you think that diversity, in the name of diversity, you can allow such evil practices to continue?
No, sir. What I am advocate, I am not saying that UCC is
And see,
wrong.
it is uniform civil code. It is not identical civil code. You are not putting identical rule for everyone. And
Yes, sir.
uniformity does not mean absolute identical rules.
Yes, sir. Sir, I think I'm not against UCC as a concept. I am only speaking against how that I'm only speaking that India is a tad bit young for a code like this because we have issues of our own within our personal laws right now. UCC does sound attractive. Uniformity is efficient. Of course, it is. All of the people that you have mentioned, they are very right in whatever they had said. But what I am saying is the implementation of that same bill would lack that uniformity because why? Because what happened in Uttarakhand is a very fantastic example. In Uttarakhand, the tribes of Tharu and Bhutia, these are some examples. These people were not even aware that the bill is being passed. Only after the bill was passed and everything happened, then they got to know. But once the rights are lost, it is very hard to regain them. And this code was made with a view that these type of people will be uplifted. But what was what actually happened was there were no opinions of these specific sects of people that were taken. My problem is with only this, that if we are talking about upliftment, I'm all in for reforms and for change. But what I am actually advocating for is that you be more inclusive. What currently the pattern has been is exclusion. We are still suffering with the evils of dowry, and we are suffering with female oppression. These things have been prevalent since so many years now. And Dalit untouchability is another example. Since B.R. Ambedkar ji started advocating it, until now it still happens. So when these problems have not found a solution, I think India is little young for this uniformity, and this is actually the reason why it was kept in
You mean
DPSP.
to say that India is not ready for
Yes, sir.
such codes?
Yes,
So
sir. I
India
think
was not ready for Navtej Singh Johar judgments also. India was
yes, sir.
not ready for Joseph Sain judgment also. So
Yes,
should
sir.
Supreme Court wait and the government should wait for the community to change itself, then implement such laws?
No, I think, sir, the change should start on a smaller level. I think the change should be natural. I think UCC is a very rush. It's a rush in its own sense. Even with the Navtej Singh Johar case, sir, I think it didn't really change anything on ground. Whatever with the LGBTQ people, they still are oppressed. Nothing has in reality changed.
Nothing
Yes,
has
they have.
changed.
Yes, sir.
You mean to say nothing has changed after Navtej Singh Johar judgment?
No, sir, they do have more options now. They did get a platform to speak up. They did get an identification. They did, get an option to, get remedies and all that. But they are still very oppressed. This was a step towards something. I'm only saying that a thing like UCC can be a final destination. It can be something we can aim for in the longer run. But to begin with it, I think it would be a slight rush. It would be a hurry.
Any other questions?
Not from my side. Is Ishan sir not available? Ishan sir?
Uh, I think Ishan sir left the meeting. Uh,
Okay.
any other questions by any other judge?
Shankar Tiwari,
Yes, sir.
are you listening with here?
Sir, your voice is actually not clear. Can you please repeat?
Sir, your internet connection is glitching.
In which year are you studying?
Sir, first year.
First year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Question the difference that is UCC Basically, the government want to, in a single, provided the uniformity. You know the earlier Kerala hijab. Are you
Uh,
understand my point?
Sir, your
No.
voice, your audio is actually glitching. It's stucking in between. I'm not able to understand the complete sentence. I'm sorry. Please, can you, if you repeat?
अब अभी हिजाब का जो चल रहा था केरल में, आप समझ रहे हैं हिजाब? आवाज साफ नहीं है.
सर, आपकी आवाज़ बीच-बीच में रुक रही है। यही बस प्रॉब्लम है। मेरे को बस
अब आ रही है, अब
हल्का-हल्का
आ रही है सर, आप बोल सकते हैं, अब आ रही है।
जी।
यस यस, मैं समझाना चाहता हूँ संकल्प. आपने केरल में हिजाब का सुना था उस टाइम?
सर, मैंने बिल्कुल बहुत फ़ोकस के साथ नहीं पढ़ा था। मतलब ऐसे ही
यस
बातचीत डिस्कशन में होता है, मैंने वो सुना था। यस सर।
यस, that is the main point because how to civilize basically the part of the legal and legal history only for to control each and every person and each and every movement. Question is, if you are going to a road, you must be follow the traffic rule. Understand? Similarly, if you are civilized, then uniform civil code.
हुँ।
Equality. The equality, you know, the equal pay for equal work.
इक्वल सर व्हाट?
You know the meaning of equal pay for equal work.
यस सर।
Equal, yes. What is the difference between equal pay for equal work? Can you define?
Um, Sir, I think, in my opinion, I can be wrong, but equal pay for equal work means that if there are two individuals and they have similar abilities, I think equal work does not necessarily mean the type of work they are given. It can include that as well. But if these two individuals, possess similar abilities, they are working, in similar for similar hours, they should be paid, fairly in a similar manner. But if one of them is more expert or more better than the other person in terms of its abilities and intellect, then I think he can be provided with more monetary thing. This is what I think.
This is this is the example that equal and uniformity civil code.
Yes, sir.
Simple language.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other participant?
Yes, sir. Our third participant is Mohana Chaudhary.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes.
Today I rise not merely to argue a motion. I rise to defend an idea whose time has come, the Uniform Civil Code. A very good evening to one and all present here. I'm Mohana Chaudhary. Today we will begin with a question first. Can there be justice in a nation where citizens are governed not by one law, but by many, depending on their religion? We proudly call ourselves a secular democracy. But in the realm of marriage, divorce, inheritance, and adoption, India is not governed by one law, but by a fractured system of personal laws. Hindu laws, Muslim laws, Christian laws, and Parsi laws, and there are tribal customs as well. Is that secularism or legalized inequality? Now, before someone cries religious freedom, let me be very clear. Uniform Civil Code does not attack religion, it strengthens the constitution. Article 44 of the DPSP states the state shall endeavor to secure for its citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. This is not new, this is not radical, this is our founding vision, the vision of our founding fathers and mothers. We know that how Rajkumari Ambedkar and other founding mothers envisioned this situation. Maybe at that time it was not possible to implement. But down the line, 10 years or 15 years down the line, they thought it would be implemented when the right time would come. And now is the right time. Even Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, a fierce defender of minorities, fought for UCC. He knew that the personal laws are often just patriarchal chains wrapped in religious ribbons. Because if we can have uniform criminal code, IPC, that is Indian Penal Code, whenever a crime is committed, we go to the police station and file a complaint, irrespective of the religion. Then when it comes to the civil rights, why there are so much differentiations existing? Let's talk the reality. A Hindu woman has different inheritance rights than a Muslim woman. A Christian woman waits for 2 years for divorce. A Muslim man says talak thrice and the Muslim woman is divorced. Here we are not dealing with religion. This is not a Hindu-Muslim debate. Rather, we are talking about the woman in Kerala, the widow in Rajasthan, the daughter in Kashmir, who is screaming and crying and saying that when I can be seen as equal as a man, is this equality or apartheid by another name? Opponents say that personal laws reflect religious identity. I say, is your identity so fragile that it must rest on the unequal treatment of women? Is your faith so brittle that it cannot coexist with justice? Let's not pretend this is not about religion, this is about power. Power to control, to discriminate, to keep communities in political cages, especially to confine the empowered women. Dr. Ambedkar stated that I measure the progress of a country by the degree of progress that the women of the country have achieved. And here we are talking about that UCC cannot be implemented, despite knowing that if it is implemented, it will mete out the equal treatment to the women, which they rightfully deserve so. We remember the case of Shahbanu. We remember the case of Shaira Banu. How women from time and again have been robbed of their opportunities, robbed of their rights. We know that how Shahbanu became, in the case of Shahbanu become, she was denied of the maintenance at the altar of vote bank politics. We know how the entire triple talaq, which was a very religious and unconstitutional method, which had been propagated for years, because of the law itself, because the law is normalizing it. So when we have a uniform code, it will not be like that. We remember the Kerala Mughal case. A Hindu man converted to Islam just to marry a Muslim woman, because polygamy is not permitted in Hindu marriage and it's permitted in Muslim personal laws. Why it will be permitted? Because it is unequal treatment meted out to the women. We, the youth, are not afraid to speak truth to power. We want a civil code where every woman is equal, not just to men, but to other women as well. Where the law does not ask your religion before giving you justice. Where unity is not just a slogan, but the spirit of our laws. Those who say, let's wait till there is consensus. I ask, was there consensus when the sati was abolished? Sorry? Was there any consensus when the sati was abolished? Was there any consensus when the child marriage was abolished? There was no consensus. Consensus will come in its way, but right now it is the time to implement the UCC. Legal acceptance accelerates the societal acceptance. There has to be a legal acceptance in the first place. Then only can societal acceptance comes. Uniform civil code is not a sword; it's a shield that protects the individual, upholds the constitution, and restores dignity to every citizen. In a nation divided by caste, creed, and community, let us not dare to be united by law. Because true secularism is not the appeasement of all, it is the preference of none. One nation, one law, one step closer to equality. This is the Uniform Civil Code, and this is why I stand, not just for a law, but for the evolution in the justice. Thank you.
Mona Chaudhary,
Yes,
Mona Chaudhary,
yes, sir.
in which year you are studying?
Sir, your voice is breaking.
You are first year, second year.
Sir, I cannot hear you, sorry.
In which year? You are first year, second year, or third year?
I am in fourth year.
Fourth year.
Yes, sir.
Good. Only one thing I want to discuss about Uniform Civil Code. What is the merit and what is the demerit of UCC?
Sir, as I have already discussed, merits of the UCC, the first and foremost merit is the meting out the equal treatment to the women, because here we are talking about women. We have seen that how many differentiations are existing in every personal law, especially in the Muslim personal laws. We know that how polygamy is permitted, and even before that, triple talaq was permitted. So there are so many differences. Even in the Christian laws, personal laws as well, there are differentiations. So we need to bring the women under a unified umbrella so that everyone can be put on the same footing. There should not be discrimination like that. They cannot be considered as an inferior sex like that. They should be put like the way the rights are meting out to the men, the rights that they are getting, women are rightfully deserving that rights also. So UCC should be implemented because of the women. I think that should be given importance. And demerits, as far as demerits are concerned, I think there will be social unrest. There will be communal tensions when it will be implemented in the first place, as we already have seen so many resistance and protests and backlashes come from the society and the communities. But in the fear of that, we cannot just move backward. We have to move forward, because there had been unrest, there had been protests previously also, whenever an act was implemented. That doesn't mean that we will stop right there. So this is what I think, sir.
Okay.
Okay, am I audible?
Mohana, don't you? Okay,
Yes,
please, ma'am, go on.
yes, ma'am.
Mohana, I'm audible. I have one
Yes, ma'am.
question for you. I want a very crisp and clear answer. If UCC is going to hamper the religious freedom, if yes, then why? If no, then why?
Ma'am, no, it will not at all hamper religious freedom because here we are talking about the civil rights pertaining to marriage, divorce, inheritance, adoption. Here we are not dealing with how the person will worship or how the person will pray. It will not have an impact on that either, because if the women are not getting the rights that they rightfully deserve, rather it will be something which is gonna propagate the inequality, which is not even in our basic structure. Basic structure doctrine talks about equality as well as secularism, but UCC is not at all about uniform religious code. It is a uniform civil code. So it will not have an impact on the religion at
Okay,
all.
all right. Thank you.
Mohana, my question is that don't you think in a diverse country like India, creating a UCC is practically impossible to satisfy all the communities? Don't you think that a one UCC can satisfy all the communities? Is it really practically possible? Have you read the 2018 Law Commission report, which said that UCC is neither desirable not necessary in India?
Right.
It is neither desirable not necessary also. The law commission, the latest law commission has said, on the basis of the various opinions which they got through various communities. So don't you think that UCC will uh, eventually create tensions between the community rather than making a bridge?
Sir, in the initial period, we know that how founding fathers and mothers they envisioned of the UCC implementation of the UCC, but it could not be implemented at that time because India was a very at a primary stage, and India just got out of that colonial rule. Colonial hangover was still there, but we cannot be carried away by that colonial hangover even now, because there will be unrest. Undoubtedly, I am not disagreeing that there will not be unrest. There will be unrest. Whenever a change comes, there are always protests, there are always backlashes, be it a good change or a bad change, because not every community will take it in the same manner, in the same way. When Navta Singh Johar judgment came up, so many protests were there. So many people actually protested against that striking down 377 because they didn't want that. But ultimately, some changes have to come. Legal acceptance. If there is no legal acceptance, there will never be societal acceptance. So I believe
So
there
don't
will
you
be.
think that changes can be done through the various judgments also? The reform can be made, just like in the case of triple talaq, the Supreme Court judgment made a reform in the Muslim personal law. So don't you think that personal laws can be reformed through the power of judicial review by the Supreme Court itself? Why there is a need for uniform civil code? If there is then there is an option that the court, through the power of judicial review, can reform certain lacunas or certain aspects of the personal law. Why there be a need for uniform civil code, which can eventually create a tension?
So, if we are relying only on the judgments, then how many matters can come up before the judiciary? Because there always will be certain problems and lacuna and loopholes in the personal laws, no matter how much reforms we will bring. There will always be a problem regarding the implementation. If one community is looked after, another community will be neglected. It cannot go on like that. You cannot reform all the personal laws, and it will be a very hectic procedure and a very lengthy procedure. It will take a lot of time, take a lot of consensus. But when we are talking about a unified code, that will make the entire process much easier and much effective also, I believe, and it will be implemented easily than reforming all the personal laws individually.
But don't you think in India, where there is so much diversity, where a language cannot be recognized as a national language, you can't put a single particular language to be a national language. How can you put a civil code to be a uniform civil code?
uh, Civil code, sir, language, there are barriers regarding the languages, but laws cannot be at the altar of, we cannot do something at the expense of equality. We have to take care of the rights which the women are not given. There are problems arising every day. Not all the cases are being reported. Not all the cases are coming up before the court. We are not aware of everything. But there are incidents happening in every corner of the society. So how will we take care of all the things that are happening? So there is a need of the law. It is the need of the hour. That's what I think.
Okay, good.
Mohana, my question to you is how the Article 25 then justify it? Like, as per the Nitish sir already said that Article 25 celebrates the diversity, and you are saying implementing UCC will not affect the diversified spirit of Indian Constitution. Then it is, I think it is contradictory. Can you explain bit?
Article 25 strictly deals with the freedom of religion.
And Article 13 also says that any law which infringes your fundamental right is unconstitutional.
Right.
Yes, kindly define all these things.
So UCC is not at all violating the fundamental rights, because UCC is about equality. Equality is also one of our fundamental rights.
What about Article 25, Mohana?
25 is about the freedom of religion. The people should be able to profess, practice, and propagate their religion. But here I am again saying that UCC is not about religion. We are dealing with the civil rights of the women.
Only civil rights of women. Only civil rights of women. Only.
Not only women, there will be a unified version for even the men as well. There will be seen that if there are discriminations existing for the men as well. But here I am talking about not religion, how we will worship, how we will pray. These things will not be governed by UCC.
But as in the case of Uttarakhand, Mohana, you just now saw that Uttarakhand made a uniform civil code. But that uniform civil code was also not uniform.
Yes,
because they had made certain